Over 150 years have passed since the Civil War, but its battlefields and towns still remember its stories. Let's see how much they've changed in these then and now photos. Please check out all original websites in the description. From a modest farmhouse, General George Meade directed the Union defense at Gettysburg. The headquarters remains preserved, tied forever to the pivotal Union victory. Richmond, Virginia, burned as Union troops entered in 1865. Today, the city thrives, but traces of its Confederate capital past remain in preserved landmarks. The office of slave traders Price, Birch and Company in Alexandria, Virginia, circa 1860, once a hub of human misery, now stands transformed as a reminder of slavery's legacy. President Lincoln met General McClellan at the Grove Farm near Antietam in 1862, reviewing the Army after its costly victory and urging his general to act decisively. The house at 130 Caroline Street in Fredericksburg still bears scars from the Union assault in December 1862, a lasting reminder of the city's brutal battle. Near Antietam's Burnside Bridge, Alexander Gardner captured Union graves after the bloodiest day in U.S. military history. Today, the fields are part of a solemn park. The Farley Plantation, Brady's 1863 to 1864 subject, served as General Sedgwick's headquarters. The mansion survives as a private home tied to Union wartime strategy. O'Sullivan's 1862 image shows Union soldiers at Cedar Mountain graves. This Confederate victory left fields scattered with burials, now preserved ground in Virginia. The Brompton Oak at Fredericksburg shaded wounded soldiers in 1864. Serving as a field hospital, it symbolized the grim reality of Civil War medicine and sacrifice. Confederate troops marched south on North Market Street in Frederick, Maryland, en route to Antietam, a movement that foreshadowed the bloody clash ahead. Freedman Basil Biggs returned to his Gettysburg farm after the battle, earning $1.25 per exhumed soldier as he reburied Union dead for the new National Cemetery. At Cumberland Landing in 1862, Union forces staged their Peninsula Campaign. Early photos show massed troops preparing for Richmond. Today, the site is farmland. The Battle of Gettysburg in July 1863 halted Lee's northern advance. This turning point is now preserved as Gettysburg National Military Park, visited by millions. Charleston's Hibernian Hall, a cultural landmark before the war, was badly damaged by Union bombardment. The building still stands today, bearing its Civil War legacy. Three Confederate prisoners were photographed on Seminary Ridge at Gettysburg, where some of the battle's fiercest clashes left the ground scarred and bloodied. Fort Sumter fell to Confederate forces in April 1861, marking the Civil War's start. Now a national monument, the fort offers visitors a window into the conflict's opening shots. Officers once manned a massive 100-pounder Parrott rifle at Fort Totten. The site today lies overgrown, its military power faded, but its history remembered. McPherson Farm, photographed by Matthew Brady in July 1863, shows barns and buildings. Today, only the McPherson barn survives. The house and wagon shed are gone. Alfred Waud sketched Devil's Den during Gettysburg's second day from a rocky perch. The same boulders remain today, preserving his dramatic wartime view. John Brown's 1859 raid on Harper's Ferry sparked conflict that led to war. Photos from 1862 and 2015 show how the town has preserved its abolitionist legacy. The stone house at Manassas stood along the Bull Run battlefield in 1862, sheltering the wounded. Today, it remains preserved as a witness to two major battles. Gettysburg's battlefield in 1863 shows the aftermath of brutal fighting. Today, the preserved fields remain a solemn reminder of the turning point in the Civil War. Confederate officer Henry Wirz of Andersonville notoriety was hanged near the Capitol in 1865. Today, the site is a modern city space, far removed from that day. A man stood at Castle Pinckney in Charleston Harbor, a Confederate fort early in the war. The site was part of Charleston's defense, now marked by ruins and history. Union troops stood outside Charleston City Hall after its capture, symbolizing Union victory in one of the South's most important cities, long seen as the Confederacy's heart. Philadelphia Brigade Park in Antietam's West Woods commemorates the Union soldiers who fought there, where some of the bloodiest and most chaotic fighting unfolded. A monument at Spotsylvania honors General John Sedgwick, killed in 1864. His famous last words, mocking enemy aim, echo as one of the war's most tragic ironies. The historic courthouse in Petersburg, Virginia, became a Confederate command post during the city's long siege, a focal point of Southern resistance in 1864-65. The David Reel Barn, pressed into use as a Confederate hospital, was struck by Union artillery at Antietam, turning a place of healing into another scene of carnage. Jefferson Davis lived in the White House of the Confederacy in Richmond, directing the Southern war effort from his residence until the city's fall in 1865. Ford's Theater, where Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, still stands in Washington. The preserved presidential box remains a powerful reminder of that tragedy. At Cemetery Ridge, a Union and Confederate veteran clasp hands over the stone wall, a powerful image of reconciliation decades after the bloody battle. Stonewall Jackson was mortally wounded by friendly fire at Chancellorsville in 1863. This site, photographed in 1866, remains a key landmark in Civil War history. Evergreen Cemetery stood at the heart of Gettysburg in 1863. A replica cannon now marks where the battle raged, honoring the cemetery's role in preserving Union lines. Richmond's burnt district lay in ruins after the war, captured in haunting photos. Today, modern buildings like the Berkeley Hotel rise where fire and conflict once raged. Sudley Springs Ford saw Union cavalry cross during the First Battle of Bull Run in 1861. Now a tranquil stream, it once witnessed the Civil War's first major clash. Dunker Church, destroyed in Antietam's fighting, became a symbol of the battle. Rebuilt by 1889, it remains one of the battlefield's most photographed landmarks. James Gibson photographed Middle Bridge at Antietam in 1862. Union troops crossed here under fire, making it one of the battle's most vital and contested crossings. In 1927, veterans dedicated the Battle of Nashville Monument. It commemorated the decisive 1864 Union victory that shattered the Confederate Army of Tennessee. The 8th Pennsylvania Reserves dedicated their Antietam Monument to mark their stand in 1862. Their valor in heavy fighting helped secure Union gains that day. In 1886, the 149th Pennsylvania Volunteers dedicated their Gettysburg Monument. It honors their fierce defense during the battle, a legacy etched into the field. At Gettysburg, Union troops built breastworks atop Little Round Top. Their defense against repeated assaults proved vital, and the hill remains a major landmark. Fort Carroll's northeast defenses stood during the Civil War. Today, the area has been reshaped, its memory surviving near Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. In 1886, Union veterans reunited at Belle Grove Mansion, recalling their victory at Cedar Creek in 1864. The site endures as a reminder of the war's closing struggles. Charleston's Zouave cadets, in their distinctive uniforms, posed at Castle Pinckney. Though the fort saw little action, it reflected the city's early Confederate defense. Union graves at Cedar Mountain marked the site of the August 1862 clash, where Confederate forces claimed victory, though both armies paid a heavy price in blood and loss. This view of Nashville's battlefield shows Redoubt Number 5, one of several Confederate defenses captured by Union forces during the decisive Battle of December 1864. Lee and Gordon's Mills at Chickamauga served as a hospital and supply post during the bloody 1863 battle, where one of the Confederacy's last major victories was won. Burnside Bridge at Antietam became a killing ground as Union troops fought for hours to cross under heavy fire. Confederate defenders held until finally forced to retreat. Veterans of the 14th Connecticut returned to Roulette's farm at Antietam, dedicating a monument where they fought and remembering comrades lost in the fierce battle. Confederate soldiers lay in Bloody Lane at Antietam, where the deadliest single day in U.S. history turned a sunken road into a mass grave and symbol of the war's brutality. Knapp's Battery, stationed near today's Antietam Visitor Center, supported Union artillery during the battle, pounding Confederate positions in the deadly engagement. The Moore House in Yorktown, Virginia, suffered heavy damage during the Peninsula Campaign of 1862, as Union troops advanced on the key Confederate position. Union soldiers manned trenches along the North Anna River during Grant's 1864 Overland Campaign, where fierce skirmishes tested both armies in brutal combat. After the Union's victory at Lookout Mountain in 1863, soldiers of the 7th Illinois posed at Point Lookout. Today, the mountain remains a celebrated Civil War site. A Baptist church in Fredericksburg was converted into a federal hospital, where wounded soldiers from both sides endured painful treatment after fierce battles. At Antietam, the 93rd New York Infantry guarded General George McClellan's headquarters, securing the Union command during America's bloodiest single-day battle. Veterans of the 2nd Connecticut Heavy Artillery revisited their training grounds in Litchfield, Connecticut, reflecting on the war years that had shaped their youth. Cannonballs were gathered in Cornwall Hollow, Connecticut, to adorn the monument to General John Sedgwick, honoring the Union commander slain at Spotsylvania. At Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, late 1860s photos show Civil War-era cannon and arsenal warehouses. Today, the site endures, its buildings joined by 1909 additions. Veterans visit Little Round Top, with Warren's monument unchanged. Today, the 91st Pennsylvania Monument still anchors this historic Gettysburg summit. Gettysburg's Codori Farm witnessed Pickett's charge, with fighting engulfing its orchard. The farmhouse still stands, preserving its place in the battle's final day. At Gettysburg's 50th reunion in 1913, veterans gathered on familiar ground. The battlefield's landscape remained unchanged, echoing memories of sacrifice and survival. Matthew Brady's 1863 view of Little and Big Round Top shows the battlefield's rugged terrain. Today, the scene endures, changed only by trees and overgrowth. The Grove House in Sharpsburg hosted Robert E. Lee and his generals during Antietam. This modest home became the setting for key Confederate decisions in the bloody battle. Veterans of the 125th Pennsylvania dedicated their monument in Antietam's West Woods, honoring their valor in one of the battle's most chaotic and deadly engagements. Union cavalrymen near the Old Church Hotel at Cold Harbor in 1864 gathered on ground soon to be soaked in blood during one of the war's most devastating battles. Veterans gathered at Spotsylvania to honor General John Sedgwick, killed in 1864. His ironic last words, dismissing danger, still echo as a tragic symbol of the battle. Rohrbach Bridge, later Burnside Bridge, was a key Antietam crossing where Confederate riflemen held off Union assaults for hours before the line finally collapsed. Veterans of the 149th Pennsylvania Infantry gathered in 1886 to dedicate their monument at Gettysburg, honoring their stand in defense of the Union line. Fallen artillery horses near Abraham Trossel's barn reveal Gettysburg's brutal aftermath, where relentless shelling devastated soldiers, animals, and farmland alike. Gettysburg's Lutheran Theological Seminary became a field hospital for both Union and Confederate wounded, its halls filled with suffering during the three-day clash. The Otho J. Smith Farm near Antietam was converted into a makeshift hospital, treating countless wounded soldiers after the devastating bloodshed of September 17, 1862. Trossel Farm, photographed with dead artillery horses of Bigelow's battery in 1863, is now marked by a monument preserving the memory of Gettysburg's carnage. At Fort Stevens in 1864, Lincoln came under fire. Elizabeth Proctor Thomas and veterans later honored the spot, now marked by a stone monument in Washington. Civil War sergeants posed at Fort Totten's Sallyport, once formidable. Today, erosion has softened the fort's lines, leaving only remnants of its defenses. The Lydia Leicester House, General Meade's Gettysburg headquarters, remains hidden today along Taneytown Road, its history preserved quietly in the stones. Modern Taneytown Road shows the Meade statue on Cemetery Ridge. Ziegler's Grove Tower gave way to the 1963 cyclorama, leaving echoes of battlefield history. Fort Totten's southeast section, with tents and the Thomas property visible in 1863, is now overgrown, blending history with the modern landscape. Antietam's David R. Miller farmhouse, seen in 1862 photos, stood amid fierce fighting. Remarkably, it survived intact and still stands as a battlefield landmark. The Miller family posed outside their farmhouse after Antietam. Despite its location at the center of the battle, the historic home remains standing today. General Lee's Gettysburg headquarters was at Mary Thompson's home on Seminary Ridge. The stone house survives and is open to visitors as a key historic site. Carrie Sheed's house sheltered Union soldiers as lines collapsed on July 1, 1863. This Gettysburg landmark still stands, tied to the first day of the battle. Antietam's Dunker Church, central to the battle, was destroyed in 1921 and rebuilt in 1962. It remains a key site, drawing visitors to the bloodiest battlefield. Massaponax Church became General Grant's War Council site during the Overland Campaign in 1864, where Union leaders planned decisive moves against Confederate forces. Children played in the streets of Richmond after its fall in April 1865, as the once proud Confederate capital became a symbol of Union victory and Southern defeat. The monument to Union General Jesse Reno marks Fox's Gap, where he was mortally wounded during the Battle of South Mountain on September 14, 1862. It still stands today. Charleston's Old Market Hall stood as Union forces captured the city, its historic walls bearing witness to the downfall of one of the Confederacy's key ports. Caroline Street in Fredericksburg bore scars of destruction after Union occupation in 1862, as homes and businesses suffered under the weight of war's devastation. Stevens Knoll offered Union artillery a key vantage point in 1863. An 1880s view compared with today shows how the landscape has changed, but history endures. In Washington, D.C., Lincoln's assassination conspirators secretly gathered, plotting the events of April 1865 that shocked the nation and altered its history. Robert E. Lee's house on Franklin Street in Richmond symbolized the Confederacy's resilience, yet later became a reminder of the South's ultimate defeat. The Gettysburg trolley once carried tourists across the battlefield, long before preservation efforts restored the grounds as a solemn site of remembrance. In 1938, veterans gathered at the Battery A monument at Gettysburg, recalling Pickett's charge and the desperate Confederate push across open ground. An 1880s image of the Trossel House reveals the battlefield's aftermath, with Bigelow's battery horses lying dead and scars of artillery still marking the farm. Union troops posed outside Alexandria's Price, Birch and Company, once a slave trading firm. The building remains, now marked by a plaque acknowledging its dark past. Brady's photo of Culp's Hill defenses shows the Union stronghold at Gettysburg. These earthworks helped secure victory and remain preserved in the park today. Gettysburg's 1st Pennsylvania Cavalry Monument honors their crucial role in the battle's mounted clashes. Their efforts helped secure Union flanks in July 1863. In 1894, the 16th Connecticut's Antietam Monument was dedicated to honor their devastating losses in the cornfield. It remains a solemn reminder of sacrifice. Sharpsburg's Lutheran Church, struck during the Battle of Antietam in 1862, bore scars from the intense shelling. This image shows how even places of faith were not spared. In 1894, veterans of the 16th Connecticut gathered at Antietam to dedicate their monument. It honored men lost at Bloody Lane, one of the war's most brutal killing grounds. Union soldiers posed on Meeting Street after Charleston fell in 1865. Their presence marked the collapse of the Confederacy's greatest port city and a turning point in the war. In a post-war ceremony, veterans of the 124th Pennsylvania Infantry gathered at Antietam to dedicate their monument, honoring comrades lost in the bloody 1862 battle. Harper's Ferry in 1863 showed John Brown's fort. By 2025, an obelisk marks its original site, symbolizing both abolitionist defiance and Civil War upheaval. Chatham Manor in Fredericksburg, Virginia, served as a Union headquarters and hospital in 1862. Today, it stands preserved, telling the story of war and recovery. At the 50th Gettysburg anniversary in 1913, veterans lounged on Pennsylvania Memorial Stairs. Today, the memorial stands unchanged, minus the crowds of veterans. Veteran Francis A. Cullen points to his name on the Pennsylvania Memorial Base as a boy looks on. Thousands of names remain legible on the memorial today. Veterans gather at the High Watermark Monument. Today, the monument remains, flanked by memorials to the 72nd and 71st Pennsylvania Infantry. Veterans at General Meade's Monument on Cemetery Ridge. Today, the statue stands proudly, the Ziegler's Grove Tower removed for the 1963 Cyclorama building. Survivors of the 9th Massachusetts dedicated their Gettysburg Monument in 1885. It honored their fierce fight on July 2, 1863, where they held the line under fire.